Hello and good morning, dear students. Now we are moving to next properties of Poisson's bracket of chapter number 5. We already studied four properties and their proof. Now property number 5 of Poisson's bracket is Poisson's bracket of u plus v w. The u, v and w are the three variables in classical mechanics is equal to Poisson's bracket of u and w plus Poisson's bracket of v and w. Then b part of fifth identity is Poisson's bracket of u v into w is equal to Poisson's bracket of u v multiplied by w plus v into u w. So we are going to prove, okay, fifth property and it's a part. So by definition of Poisson's bracket of u plus v w is equal to, now we know that from definition, that is summation over k partial derivative of first term, which is u plus v with respect to q, and then partial derivative of second term with respect to p, minus partial derivative with respect to p of first term, which is u plus v, and partial derivative of w with respect to q. Okay, now this is equal to, here we have to write down two terms because this will split into two terms. This is partial derivative of u and v. Since u and v both are function of q, we can write this as summation over k partial derivative of u with respect to qk, okay, plus next term is partial derivative of v with respect to qk, and multiply by partial derivative of w with respect to pk, minus partial, this term can be written as partial derivative of u with respect to pk plus partial derivative of v with respect to pk multiply by partial derivative of w with respect to qk. Now this is equal to, if you take this term over here and this term over here, we can multiply, again we can multiply this term to this term and this term. So combinedly we can take this as summation over k partial derivative of u with respect to qk partial derivative of w with respect to pk minus, okay, if you take this term, so this term and this term is I written, now this term and this term is partial derivative of u with respect to pk multiply by partial derivative of w with respect to qk, okay, plus next term is summation over k partial derivative of v with respect to qk and partial derivative of w with respect to pk, last term is minus partial derivative of v with respect to pk and partial derivative of w with respect to qk. Okay, so by definition of this Poisson's bracket, this is nothing but, since this is derivative of u with respect to qk, w with respect to qk, and term is flipped, so u with respect to pk and w with respect to qk. So by definition of Poisson's bracket, this is nothing but Poisson's bracket of u and w plus next term, this is nothing but Poisson's bracket of v and w, and this is nothing but RHS. Okay, so I think we proved fifth identity, it's a part. Now this b part you can solve as an exercise in your home, how you will solve u v w. So here by definition you will take u and vw. So by definition this is partial derivative of u, okay, with respect to qk, and here we have v and w. So again here you have u and here you will have v and w. So here you can take product rule. So partial derivative of v with respect to pk, then w is constant, plus next time you can take v as constant and partial derivative of w with respect to constant. Similarly here you can use product rule, and simplifying you will get right hand side, which is this. Okay, now we are moving to identity number 6. So identity number 6 of Poisson's bracket is identity number 6 of Poisson's bracket is partial derivative with respect to time of u and v. Okay, now it's proof. So this is equal to partial derivative with respect to time of, by definition, Poisson's bracket of u and v can be written as summation over k. Okay, partial derivative of u with respect to qk, partial derivative of v with respect to pk, minus, we can flip this term, partial derivative of u with respect to pk and partial derivative of v with respect to qk. Okay, now this is equal to, here we are taking derivative, time derivative of this term. So again here we can use product rule. You can take derivative of this term at that time this term is constant, and next one it's you have to keep this term as constant and derivative of this term. So that is nothing but summation over k. If you take derivative with respect to time of this term, so that is partial derivative with respect to time and partial derivative with respect to qk. So by using chain rule, okay, by using properties of chain rule, this second order partial derivative can change its orders. So if you take derivative of this term, so that is partial derivative with respect to qk of partial derivative of u with respect to time. At that time partial derivative of v with respect to pk is constant, plus if you keep this term as constant, that is partial derivative of u with respect to qk as constant, then if you take derivative with respect to time of this term, so that will become partial derivative with respect to pk of partial derivative of v with respect to time. Okay, minus, similarly here we are taking partial derivative with respect to time of these two terms. So again we can use chain rule. So first of all, partial derivative with respect to pk of partial derivative of u with respect to time, then partial derivative of v with respect to qk, minus partial derivative of u with respect to pk is constant, and partial derivative with respect to qk or partial derivative of v with respect to time. Okay, so now this is equal to, see from definition, if you take this term, okay, and this term, see here we have partial derivative with respect to qk of this term. Okay, and here we have partial derivative of pk with respect to this term, and partial derivative of v with respect to pk and partial derivative of v with respect to qk. So if you combine these two terms, so that is nothing but commutator of partial derivative of u with respect to time and v, plus if you take these two terms, okay, so here you have partial derivative with respect to qk, here you have with respect to pk, here in the next term multiplied to this v with respect to time, derivative of v with respect to time, here qk and here pk. So that is by definition is nothing but u partial derivative of v with respect to time. So that is right hand side. Okay, so with this we can prove this 6 number identity. And then 7 number identity is Jacobi identity. So Jacobi identity is cyclic relation between three variables. Those are u, v, and w. So Jacobi identity written for u, v, and w in a cyclic manner. So commutator u, you can take now v, w. Okay, this is implicit commutator. So commutator within commutator. Sorry, Poisson's bracket within Poisson's bracket. Uh, Commutator is in quantum mechanics. That's why I mispronounced it. So in classical mechanics, this is Poisson's bracket. So implicit Poisson's bracket. Poisson's bracket of u and vw plus next term is v and commutator w, v w and u, okay, plus commutator w, okay, and uv. This is equal to 0. So this is the Jacobi identity. Okay. With this, we finish properties of identities which are involved in case of Poisson's bracket. Now we are moving to next section of this chapter, and next section is elementary Poisson's bracket. So here I have written four elementary Poisson's bracket. First one is commutator QKQL is equal to 0. Second, commutator PKQL is equal to minus Kronecker delta. This is Kronecker delta KL. Third is PKPL is equal to 0. And fourth one is commutator, sorry, Poisson's bracket of QKPL is equal to Kronecker delta KL. So this elementary Poisson's bracket can be proved. Okay. First of all, we are going to prove these two Poisson's bracket, and after these two Poisson's bracket. So for these two Poisson's bracket, here you can see PK, QK and PL is there, but second term is QL. Okay. So proof. First of all, let commutator UV is equal to. We know that commutator UV is what? Summation over K, okay, partial derivative of U with respect to QK, partial derivative of V with respect to PK, minus partial derivative of U with respect to PK and partial derivative of V with respect to QK. Okay. So if you put V is equal to QL, okay, in above relation, then what we will get? See, I'm putting V equal to QL because in these two relations here we have QL. So P equal to QL, if you put, then we get commutator U and QL is equal to summation over K, partial derivative of U with respect to QK and partial derivative of V. Now V is what? QL. So partial derivative of QL with respect to PK minus partial derivative of U with respect to PK, okay, and here partial derivative of V which is QL, okay, with respect to QK. Now this is equal to, here if you take derivative of Q with respect to P, forget this L symbol first of all. So we are taking derivative of Q with respect to P. So derivative of Q with respect to P is 0. That's why first term becomes 0. And next term is minus summation over K. Okay. Partial derivative of U with respect to PK. Now here we are taking derivative of QL with respect to QK. So QL and QK are not same quantities. These are two different quantities. We are taking derivative of L with respect to K. So here this is nothing but Kronecker delta K. So this function Kronecker delta has property Kronecker delta KL is equal to 0 and is equal to 1 for K is equal to K is not equal to L, and this is equal to 1 for K is equal to L. See, if you put K is equal to L, means K is equal to L means we are taking derivative of same terms QK with respect to QK. If K is equal to L, then this derivative is 1, and if this derivative, if K and L are not equal, then this derivative becomes 0. Why? Because take certain, we can say, generalized terms. If Qk is r and Ql is theta, if you are taking derivative of r with respect to theta, so that is 0. Okay. Now Here, to simplify this, put k is equal to L, then Kronecker delta KL is equal to what? 1. Here. So we get commutator U and QL is equal to minus, instead of K, we get only one term for K is equal to L, because in this summation we have all the terms. Out of those all the terms, we are taking only the term which includes K is equal to L. So that is partial derivative of U with respect to PL, okay, and this term is 1. Now we get this identity. Now to prove first identity, put U is equal to QK. Then using equation 1, see, if you put U is equal to QK in this equation, what you will get? Commutator, instead of U, we can write commutator QK and QL. So that is equal to minus partial derivative of U. Now U is what? QK, and we have to take derivative with respect to PL. See, here we are taking derivative of Q with respect to P. So that derivative is 0. So with this we prove first identity. Now to prove second identity, here I will prove second identity. Put U is equal to Pk. See here in equation 1. So you will get, if you put U is equal to Pk, then commutator Pk QL is equal to minus partial derivative of U. Now U is what? Pk with respect to PL. Okay. Now here derivative of Pk with respect to PL. If K is equal to L, then this derivative is 1. If K is not equal to L, then this derivative becomes 0. So that is, from this definition, nothing but Kronecker delta KL. Okay. So with this we proved these two identities. Now we have to prove identity number 3 and 4. For identity number 3 and 4, if you look, commutator Pk and PL, commutator Qk and PL, second term we are having is PL. Okay. So to prove that, if we know that let commutator UV by definition is this, and if you put commutator V in this relation as PL, okay, because second term is PL. So if you put V is equal to PL in above equation, then what we will get? Commutator U, and here we will having PL, okay, is equal to summation over K, this term. Now here what we will have? Here we have PL, and instead of Q we are having PL. Now first term. So first term is partial derivative of U with respect to Qk and partial derivative of PL with respect to Pk. Now this term here, partial derivative of P with respect to Q, this term is 0. See, we are taking derivative of P with respect to Q. So this must be 0, and this term survives. So this is nothing but summation over K, okay, partial derivative of U with respect to Qk, and instead of this term we have Kronecker delta K. Again, if the property of that Kronecker delta is equal to 0 for K is not equal to L, and that is equal to 1 for K is equal to 1. Again, if you put K is equal to L in above equation, then Kronecker delta KL is equal to 1. Now commutator U and PL is equal to, from above equation, if you put K is equal to L, that is partial derivative of U with respect to what? QL. Okay. Call this as identity 1 for 3 and 4. Now if you put U is equal to Pk, third identity in equation 1, then we get instead of u we can write pk, okay, and ql, commutator pk and pl is equal to, now see, if you put u is equal to pk, you get partial derivative of u with respect to ql. So u is what now? Pk. So partial derivative of pk with respect to ql. So again we are taking derivative of pk with respect to derivative of p with respect to q. So this is 0. Now we are proving identity number 4. In fourth identity, if you put u is equal to qk, okay, in equation 1, what we will get? First term is instead of u we will having qk, and ql is equal to, now from this equation, partial derivative of u which is qk with respect to ql. So we are taking derivative of qk with respect to ql. So that is nothing but Kronecker delta kl. Okay. So this proves identity number 4. So with this we finish our lecture over here. In the next lecture we will see proof of Jacobi identity and some problems.